Hi folks, welcome to the Game Week 84 preview for the Contender divisions on Sorare. I hope you're all well. I hope your last couple of game weeks have gone better than mine. Nothing to shout about last weekend or midweek, but hopefully the weekend is better. And having a look at these projections before I started recording, I'm feeling confident for the upcoming game week. So, format for this video. As usual, we'll have a look at the game week as a whole. First of all, win percentages, clean sheets, all that kind of stuff. Maybe for the last time, we'll have a look at the pick scores on Sorare Data, which of course is shutting down next week. Sad times for all of us who used that website. Predictorfy, we'll look at a few predicted lineups, but there's not many there yet on Thursday morning. And a quick look at the La Liga 2 table as well, because they go into the final day. And we'll see what that means for our lineup building for the weekend. And then I will finish up, as always, I'll build a couple of rare in-season lineups, hoping to have 2 Division 1 in-season entries. So, first up, this is Sorare Probabilities, the spreadsheet that I subscribe to. I highly recommend it. Probably a good time to check it out if you were using Sorare Data, and you will not be able to do so after. I think it's the 5th of June is the final day of Sorare Data, so we all need to have a minute silence at some point on the 5th of June and shed a tear. But there's plenty of other good stuff out there, and I find Sorare Probabilities really useful. I'm not affiliated in any way. I don't get anything for signups, through my link. I just share it because it's good. I use it. I think you'll like it because it's geared towards your own gallery, and it gives you all these win percentages and all that kind of stuff as well. So there is a link in the description to that. Send him a message, and I think you can get a free trial to try it out first of all to see what you think of it. So here we are, the Game Week 84 for Contender. This is win percentage at home first of all. So top of the list is Almeria. I'm trying to get myself a Luis Suarez from Almeria for this fixture against Tenerife. 85% win percentage. We've got Bran up here, but I don't think they've got any cards. Rosenberg are quite high this week, 71%. They just won 2-0 midweek. Possibly a bit of rotation coming, but I do think there is a break in Norway for maybe 3 weeks after this one. Certainly some teams have a 3-week break, so maybe not as much need for rotation there. Levante are quite high here, 67%. Also, Gimshin are here, home to Suwon with 61%. FC Seoul, 58% against Jeju. And then there's Mashida towards the bottom, 55% at home to Yokohama. Although Yokohama did get a victory at last. I see a notification on my Sorare. Hope that is a Luis Suarez transfer in. Confirmed. We'll check that in a little bit. Let me go to... Let's just look at the best percentages away from home in terms of wins. We've got Mirandes in Spain. We've got Bodo in Norway. Both of those above 80%. Elche in Spain as well, 69%. And then, drops down to 50% there pretty quickly. So Mirandes, Bodo, and Elche are the best away teams for Game Week 84. We can also look here at clean sheet percentages. We'll just look at the home ones. That's what I tend to go for when I'm looking for clean sheets, teams at home. Best one is, again, Almeria, top of the list here. If you've got any of their defenders, Real Oviedo come out highly as well. They're fighting for, I think Oviedo can still get automatic promotion. We'll double check that in a second. Rosenberg again here, 51% clean sheet percentage. I will be using 1, if not 2, of their defenders in one of my top lineups. Corinthians, Bran, FC Seoul, Nagoya have a good matchup this week at home to Abirex, but it's hard to trust them defensively. It's more their attackers that I will be looking to. And finally, let's have a quick look at XG. We'll go for home teams XG, if I can find it. Here we are. Again, Almeria are coming out across the board at the top. Tenerife are terrible. Almeria need a result, I'm pretty sure. Again, we'll check that in a sec. Levante again, Rosenberg. You see, common theme here across all of these metrics. Molde have a pretty decent XG, predicted XG of 1.76. Mashida, what's that, 1.59. And quite a few teams there that we don't have cards for. Let's have a look at pick scores for game week 84. Now, again, this is contender only. It is, I'll go position by position, and I will just do triple A's. And this is Thursday, of course, Thursday morning. So these can change right up to the deadline. But best goalkeeper rating is Augustine Rossi. Plays in Brazil. He plays at home to Fortaleza, who look like they're 16th in the league. Tangvik has a very good matchup for Rosenborg, if he can win the lottery and try and buy one. I've given up trying. He started the season too well. You know, young goalkeeper, big future, very, very expensive. Be careful with Alfonso Herrero. He's a triple A, but I think rotation is very possible for him because I don't think they have anything to play for against Burgos. We've got Weverton in Brazil, Fernando Miguel, John in Brazil as well. Defenders, top of the list, Kim Jin-soo at FC Seoul, a player I've been trying to get for a while. I had one at the start of the season and I sold it and I regret it and I want to try and get him back. He scores very well and he's taken some set pieces. FC Seoul had almost a devastating 95th minute goal conceded midweek, but thankfully VAR intervened and they got the clean sheet. Kim Young-gwon at Ulsan is always up here. Somebody noted in the last video, be careful with players from Ulsan and any team that plays in the Club World Cup because obviously they won't be available for contender probably for the best part of a month, maybe even more. I'm not sure exactly how long. You've got Monterrey, you've got River Plate, you've got, I think, Urawa as well from Japan. So just be careful with those teams if you're looking to buy them in the next couple of days or over the next week or so. Yassan Al-Arab here at FC Seoul as well. Kim Tae-hyun, Kim Hyun-jun at Daegu. I've bought him a couple of days ago for £11. He's been playing recently. He's young. He scored, I think, 2 games back. I don't know if he's going to be, guaranteed starter long term, but for £11 in season, good for, getting Bruno Lamas and Hwang Jae-won up to 2%, even if he does lose his place. Ando here's having a great season, and there's Hwang Jae-won and Chai Marcelo, who are good options this week as always. Midfielders, top of the list, Sho Inagaki, who's having a really good season for Nagoya. And I've been trying to buy one for quite a while, and I went and I've actually bought a classic one this week. I didn't quite have the budget for the in-season. Spent £19 on a classic. A one-of who was at level 10, loads of XP, so he's at level 8 now, that I've brought him through the door, and he will go in alongside my Mateus Castro for this good matchup for Nagoya at home to Abirek. So hopefully those two do the business. Second on the list there does not have cards on Sorare. Lucas Fernandez, always up here, AAA. No decisives midweek, but some good AA. Matt Smaller Daly's having a good season, good matchup, although, that is first in the league, isn't it? Viking, so maybe not as good as it suggests here. Junosuke Suzuki, his midfielder card is highly rated. Broholm, who did he score in the last minute midweek? So again, good option for the weekend. And this guy, John Jin Woo at John Book, is a player who has caught my attention in recent weeks, and I really want to buy one. I've started watching K-League highlights as well now to go alongside my J-League highlights, and this guy is very, very good. And as you can see there, he has been scoring extremely well this season. And of course, because of that, he is expensive. 30 quid for a classic. Cheapest on the market in terms of in-season is £85 from Etienne 23. Hope you're well, mate. And if you want to give me a good deal on that, if you're watching this video, hit me up. And hopefully catch you soon for a game or a beer in Glasgow town. So, midfielders, that is midfielder sorted. Let's have a look at forwards. Number 1, Luis Suarez. Let's check if this deal is over the line. Counter offer, 20 quid. I think I offered 19.50. I'm just going to accept this. Get Luis Suarez through the door, AAA rated, and yeah, I want them for this weekend, and then I'll probably just keep them for next season as long as they don't get promoted. So that's probably going to be my last purchase ahead of the weekend. And he'll go into one of the in-season lineups, most likely as the classic card. Andres Martin, another classic card, good option in Spain this week, as is Carlos Alvarez. Here's Broholm, the forward version. Mateus Castro, good to see him up there. There's John Jinwoo again, so he's obviously got forward cards and midfield cards. And Cato at Sanfrecce just about makes it onto the list here, but he did miss a penalty, I'm pretty sure, in the most recent fixture. So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps those or if someone like Raul Germain can take them off him. So there we have pick scores. Let me close that tab. A quick look at Predictorfy, another very useful website. I know there's Sorare Insight as well, which I haven't subscribed to yet, but I probably will end up checking it out at some point and probably just use both. Just double the chance of getting things right or wrong in terms of team predictions. John Book team came in 5 minutes ago. There he is, Jinwoo John on the left wing, it looks like. Good option if you can get one through the door. Ulsan rotated a lot midweek. Bojanic was on the bench, so he should start this one. I think he's the only one I currently have. Farias was on the bench, but he came on and scored, I'm pretty sure. So he should be back in the starting 11 as well. Seoul have a good matchup. I've got quite a few of those guys. So Kim Ju-sung, centre-back, will be in one of my top lineups. I've got a Kang Limited. Ki Sung-young should be back soon. He's got a 15% chance here. Jesse Lingard has been quiet so far. And hopefully Jung Sung-won will play on the wing in this one. I bought one at the start of the season. I sold it a week or two ago. Then I watched the highlights of not the game midweek, but the one before that when he was playing on the wing and he looked electric. So I went back into the market and I picked one up again. And I often do that, sell players and want them back pretty quickly. So if it looks like Jung Sung-won is going to play on the wing in this game, I'm inclined to bump him up into one of my priority teams, maybe along with Kim Ju-sung. We've also got, what's this one? This is Gimshin, isn't it? I made the mistake. I always fall into the trap. I'm pretty sure this is the military team. And I think a lot of these guys' contracts are coming to an end on, I think it's the 4th of June. So a lot of these guys will be heading back to their respective teams that own them, basically. So I bought the goalkeeper twice midweek because I didn't have any goalkeepers for that midweek game week. And I think I was quite lucky actually to get a start out of him. He could have easily been rotated. I'll show it to you here. Where his lineups from midweek. So I had a Division 1, Division 2. Looks like the Division 2 is going to get promoted. So yeah, bought Kim Dong-hyun goalkeeper twice, I think 20 quid each, and used them as a classic in with the in-season guys. But I'm probably going to have to try and get rid of him fairly quickly, or at least get rid of one of them fairly quickly, and maybe just keep the other one for next season. I think he plays in the 2nd division. Is it Inshin he plays for? They are top of the league, so maybe keep one, hope they get promoted, and then be able to use them next season. But usually my patience doesn't allow me to wait that long. But yeah, always be careful of that military team, because that's definitely not the first time I have fallen into that trap. So he's got an 80% chance this weekend. So maybe I'll use one and try and get the other one on the market sharpish and get him out the door for a bit of a loss, most likely. A couple of Spanish teams here. Elche, so Affengruber should be good. They've got something riding on this game. There's also Levante. So I think Levante, yeah, there could be a rotation there. They don't have anything to play for. So I've got the goalkeeper Fernandez, for example, 50-50 on the goalkeepers. Let me change this to not just my matches. Other interesting teams here in Spain. Almeria, so again, Luis Suarez is here at 90%. No one else jumps out at me there that I'm aware of that are really good scorers. Otherwise, in Spain, what else did we say? Which other teams? Mirandes, I think, have something to play for. A couple of guys there, if you've got any of those. And we'll probably leave it there. Santander, I think Santander need a draw, at least a draw, to secure their position. So again, Inigo Vicente, I used to own him, but Andres Martinez is the better option from their attack now. But if you've got either, goalkeeper is a good option as well, is Kita, and I don't really recognise anyone else. I used to have Karik Baru, the forward, but he's only got a 40% chance here. So here is the Spanish La Liga 2. This is their final day. Top 2 get automatic promotion. So Levante are already secure. That's why they could rotate. Elche they probably need a win just to be doubly safe, although they do have good goal difference, if it goes on goal difference, that is. And then there's going to be 4 promotion playoff places. So currently Oviedo, Mirandes, Santander and Almeria. So as you can see there in 7th place, Granada can still make it into the playoffs. So that's why the likes of Santander and Almeria need results at the weekend. So you can be confident of playing their guys. Again, teams that don't have anything to play for, really, Eibar. Who else is popular? Towards the bottom then, it looks like there's going to be 4 teams relegated, and that's already decided. Eldense, Tenerife, Ferrol and Cartagena. I need to practice my Spanish, but basically those 4, you can probably target those teams with your attackers mainly, if you look at the fixture. So that is just a quick look at the La Liga 2 table. Now let's get to lineup building. I should have 2 in-season rares, Division 1, because this Podium Chasers team is going to get promoted from midweek thanks to, who was it? Lucas Fernandez. Basically just getting 5 players who were on the pitch. That was the key because there was so much rotation. People who had Ulsan stacks and stuff like that got royally shafted midweek and probably got relegations. I got a frustrating relegation last weekend, but I've managed to get actually 2 relegations last week, and I've managed to get one of them back in for this upcoming weekend, which is always nice for the weekend because that's where the good prizes are. So back to Sorare probabilities. My top rated goalkeeper, of course, is Mr. Military himself, Kim Dong-hyun, 67 projected score. Will he start? I don't know, and this is probably his last game, I would imagine. Win percentage 61%, so I'll probably just leave him for a classic rare lineup just to avoid any risk there. Casio is rated highly here, but he's only got a 34% clean sheet percentage because I think that's a tough matchup. So my best in-season goalkeeper, Kositani, has a good matchup, and he's not the highest on Sorare data, but I really like this matchup. Home to Yokohama. I know Yokohama scored, they scored 3 goals in the last game and they got a victory. Jan Mateus looked good as soon as I sold him, but he might have a little injury, so keep an eye on Jan Mateus. So I'm quite tempted by a full, for Machida and Lucas Fernandez. That's kind of my go-to. The team that got me the 2nd place midweek a couple of months ago. But I probably should stick to projections rather than going Machida stack. Brian Ramirez, I slipped up with him midweek as well, but thankfully it was an all-star lineup. He was suspended midweek, and that's the downside of having players from leagues that you don't know much about. He's 90% on the projection websites and stuff. I think the suspension might have come through late, possibly, but he should be okay, I think, for this league game. So he's a good classic option, as is Afen Gruber. I've got 2 Rosenborg defenders rated quite highly, Jensen and Pereira. Hwang Jae-won, 61. Hatanaka scored very well midweek. Kim Ju-sung is 59 here, but that might rise a bit before the weekend, and I certainly rate him higher. Okamura's decent, so I could pair him with Kositani. Have a quick look at midfielders. Best in season, Lucas Fernandez, according to Sorare probabilities. Mats Muller-Deli, Bujanic. There's Inagaki, good rating this week, but they're all classics, of course. Ole Selnes, 60. I'll probably pair him with 1, if not 2, Rosenborg defenders. Evian, good matchup. 80% win percentage for Bodo. Likewise, Jens Peter Høyga, 55 projected score. Again, I'd probably rate him a bit higher than that because of the matchup. Jung Sung Won, I mentioned, he's only 47 projected here, but if he plays on the wing, again, he's higher in my estimations. Forwards, Sorare probabilities and Sorare data always love Kavric. He's 3rd on Sorare data and he's number 1 on probabilities. Problem is he's classic. He's only got 1%. So yeah, it's quite hard to squeeze him into an in-season lineup. Yuki Soma is back. He came off the bench last game week for a goal and an assist, and he's going to be in one of my priority lineups. So again, I do like the idea of a Machida stack. I could go Okamura, Tani, Yuki Soma, maybe even just 3 Machida, and then change it up with the other 2 positions. Rafael Ritau, 61. I always like him alongside Lucas Fernandez. So I could go maybe 3. Could go 3 Machida and 2 Chirazo with Fernandez and Ritau. Mateus Castro I really like this week, and I want to pair him with Inagaki. Bruno Lamas looks good, and I'll probably put him with Hwang Jae-won. Again, there's probably not massive amount of logic of putting Lamas and Hwang Jae-won together, but I just like doing that. Worst case scenario, if a game was called off, for example, at least they're both in the same lineup then, and not everything. You're not killing 2 lineups with 2 players. You're just killing 1 lineup in the worst case scenario. And then you're hoping Hwang Jae-won assists Lamas, for example, or wins a penalty and Lamas scores it. Although, don't even know if Lamas will take penalties while Cecilia is out. So, let's jump to the lineup builder. And I'll just build 2 lineups. I'll build the 2 Division 1. Again, of course, provisional lineups. As you know, these will change a lot before the weekend. So let's go Machida. So Okamura, Kosatani, Yuki Soma. Where is Yuki Soma? Again, he will probably be higher on Sorare probabilities. Sorare data before deadline on Friday. And we said Lucas Fernandez was the top rated here, wasn't he? 68. Now, I am slightly concerned about rotation for Lucas Fernandez and Rafael Ritau. I thought it would happen midweek. They've played a lot of games recently. So I might be careful with those guys as the deadline gets closer. And instead, for example, instead of Lucas Fernandez, Rafael Ritau, I could go Mateus Castro, Inagaki here, or just one of them. So maybe just Fernandez and don't go for Rafael Ritau. Maybe I should put Luis Suarez in here. New signing. Top of the list of all players on Sorare data. And I'm pretty sure, is he the highest rated player? I need to import. Let's just do a live import because I've just signed him. Let me go to dashboard. Let me go to player import. And that should see Luis Suarez jump to the top of my projections in terms of all players. So let's have a look. Yeah, there he is. So he jumps above Cavric. Make sure you can see that. Cavric was 80, but Luis Suarez is 96 projected score. So I like that instead of the rotation risk Rafael Ritau. Luis Suarez, projected score 96, captain's armbands. He will play. They need a result. 80% win percentage there on Sorare data. So I like that team. As long as Lucas Fernandez starts, and maybe I could de-risk it. And it would need to be an in-season replacement. If I don't go Lucas Fernandez, it could be Selnez, but again, I've got slight concerns over him as well. Just a lot of games recently, and he was injured beforehand. Ligi Hyuk was on the bench midweek, but he came on after half an hour and managed some really good AA, so I think he'll start this one. And maybe it's Jung Sung-won just for that, right wing potential. But for now, I'll leave it at Lucas Fernandez, 3 Machida guys, and captain Luis Suarez. Let's save that one and do one more. This will be Podium Chasers, which should be in Division 1 as well. I'm quite keen. I brought him in for this week, Inagaki, to go along with Mateus Castro. So let's start by putting those 2 in. The rest of the cards all need to be in season, which I can filter here very handily. Goalkeeper, Tani we've used. Ishimori on the market. Yamaguchi also on the market, so I'm not going to put them in yet because I might end up losing them. I'm not totally happy with my goalkeeper setup at the moment, and I might go into the market. It's frustrating when the Argentina guys are not available. the likes of Armani and Arias. Who else have I got? Anyone in Norway? No, I don't have a Norwegian goalkeeper. I wish I did, but I do not. Mayakawa is only projected here 37, but I always like Vissel Kobe for clean sheet potential. I rate them as a team. And again, I could go Gimshin goalkeeper here, but I want to go Inagaki more so. Cassio's also a classic. So you can see the issue I'm having here. My best goalkeepers are classic at the moment. But here's Mayakawa. It is a tough fixture, and I probably won't stack him with Tuller. I'll just go for one Kobe defensive option. Defender here, so we're looking at probably Daegu. We're looking at Seoul. We're looking at Rosenberg. Let's jump back over here. Rosenberg guys are the highest rated, but Hwang Jae-won is really close. And I quite fancy Bruno Lamas this week as well. 58 projection there. What does Bruno Lamas look like over here? Where is he? He's well down the list, but again, that is likely to change. K-League guys tend to be the slower ones to update here. Yeah, he's just got an F rating here. It says he's going to be on the bench, but that's pretty unlikely. So I'm going to go Bruno Lamas in the... So two forwards. Let me just put... where is Mateus Castro? Let me put him back in. Let me just do it this way. Castro. Do it the old-fashioned way. Type in his name. So Castro Lamas feels pretty good this week, and probably, like I said, just go in with another Daegu option here. And he's AAA rated anyway. And he looked good in the highlights in the most recent fixture as well. So, all of those guys have home games apart from the goalkeeper. Mateus Castro, I love him as a player. He looks good every time I watch him. He almost never gets the Sorare points, as we'll just have a quick look. Yeah, I mean, he's last 5 fixtures, best score 56. But again, you know, there's AA there often, 21. He's a shoot-on-sight player. He's got a good matchup, and if he does pop off, you know, I think he can get 80s and 90s. Now, should he be captain? Maybe not. Should Inagaki be captain? Let's just have a look here. You know, his scores have been a lot more consistent. Not just this season. You go back to last season as well. You can see it there. There's a lot more 70s and 80s here than there is with Mateus Castro. But I still feel like which of these players has who is more likely to score 100? And I still feel like it's Mateus Castro on watching the games. I think he's got hat-trick potential. Whereas Inagaki, maybe his ceiling is 80 or 90, whereas I feel like Castro can hit the 100. So I'm going to back that. And I'm going to go Mateus Castro captain and hope they both score well. So there's 2 lineups that I like the look of. I will have one more in season, but it'll be Division 2. And then I'll have probably one Classic Division 1 and a couple of Division 2s, and then one Division 1 limited team as well. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover for the game week. Quick look at the prize pool for the weekend. First place, $1,200. Third place, $500. Low battery, I better get out of here quickly. Top 10 finish will get you $100. And top 80 pays out 15 quid. $15 in Division 1. I was going to show you Division 2, but I don't know how to do it. Interesting here, does it say suggest lineup? So it's getting more and more like Sorare data. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to click suggest lineup here to see what pops up. Brian Ramirez captain, yeah, maybe I probably should try and get him into an in-season team. Kosatani, so that matches up with Yuki Soma, Lucas Fernandez, and Adrian Pereira. So not too far off there in terms of the teams that we did build, but Brian Ramirez is certainly one for me to think about before deadline on Friday. I will leave it there, folks. As always, make sure you hit like, subscribe for future videos. I'm going to do Before Sorare data closes down, I have a watch list on there of about 30 players, mostly J League, K League, and I'm going to do a video on that before the website disappears and before I need to move my watch list over to Sorare itself. So probably in the next 4 or 5 days, there will be another video on the watch list, and I'll run through recent purchases on that video as well. I'll just very quickly show you recent purchases without going into any detail about them. Newest purchases, you've seen the Suarez one just now, Inagaki, Andrade, who's back for Osaka, back from injury, good for collection score. Spent 20 quid to get Jung Sung Won back in. Where was I? Ulrich Jensen, another Rosenborg defender for £15. Miyashiro, who's been looking really good for Kobe, scored a brace in the most recent game, £27. Kirigawa, good striker, a tenner. Adrian Martinez, 30 quid from Racing, good one for the summer. There's the two goalkeepers, same player, different images. Always find that funny, they look so different with hair and without hair. I could say that about myself, to be fair. Matsuzaki's a really good option when he pops off. Picked him up for a fiver. Barco, 69 quid. Schmeichel, I think, was 85. I've got him listed, but he probably won't sell for that. Fernandez, 7 quid, but can't use him this week. Casio came in. Leo Chiara, Bruno Lamas. I think Bruno Lamas was in the last video, so I will leave it there. Like I said, new watch list video coming in the next couple of days, and I'll be back next week with another preview for Game Week 86. I think the deadlines change soon, don't they? I think it's Game Week 88, so we need to be careful of that. I think the days are going to change around a wee bit. You know, it could be Thursday deadlines instead of Friday, for example. So I will double check that, and we'll cover it in the next video as well to make sure we're all aware of the upcoming schedule. Thanks for watching, folks. Like, subscribe, give it a share on socials, leave a comment. Always enjoy reading the comments. Suggest players that I don't have. Is there anyone I have that is overrated that I shouldn't be using? Any lineup suggestions for this weekend? Any injury news, most importantly? Anything that I may not be aware about? Get it all in the comments and let me know how you're setting up your lineups for the weekend as well. Who's your must-have contender player for the weekend? Who's going to score 100? Get his name in the comments, and if I don't have him, I might go out and buy him and back your instinct. Have a good game week, folks. Hopefully see yourselves on the leaderboard alongside me. I hope you come second. I hope I come first. Talk to you soon, folks.